What's doing, everybody? Today is Thursday, October 30th. President Trump meets yesterday with Xi Jinping, the president of China. He's now on his way home for trick-or-treaters at the White House. Joining me on the podcast today, Navy SEAL Jared Hudson, running for senator down in Alabama. I'm AlecLace. This is the AlecLace Show.
The American family is under attack. Parents are the underdog of this nation. Your children are being indoctrinated. That's right. Your children. They do not belong to the state. They do not belong to the school system. They belong to you, the parents, as a blessing from God our Father. So let's preserve, protect, and fight for the American family together. You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.
All right, welcome everybody to the AlecLace Show. Happy and honored as always to be here with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching a broadcast as it streams live on Rumble, please get down there, hit the share button. Let's get as many people into this live broadcast as possible. Got a quick hitter for you guys today. As soon as I'm done here, I'm jumping on a train. I'm heading down to D.C. They have the trick-or-treat at the White House. They have Halloween at the White House tonight. Amazing that President Donald Trump just finishes this trip over in Asia where he met with Xi Jinping. Talk about that in just a second. But he is now, he's headed back, and he'll be there. I believe it's at 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight. They're doing the Halloween. We know we have that classic, one of the trick-or-treaters, the SpongeBob? No, it was one of those guys, one of the minions. He puts the candy on the kid's head. Classic moment. So he'll be down there. I'll be down at the White House because I won't be able to go next week because next week there won't be an AlecLace Show because I will be on vacation next week. So I won't be here with you guys. So make sure you follow me on X at AlecLace for any upcoming guest announcements or what's going on. But so as I said, I got a quick hitter for you guys today. I got Navy SEAL running for Senate in Alabama, Jared Hudson, joining me on the podcast today. So honored to get him on the show. We need as many good people as we can get in Washington, especially for the midterms that are coming up in 2026, and Jared is one of them. So we're going to have him on the show. Only thing I really wanted to touch on was this meeting that President Trump had with Xi Jinping, saying that they met in South Korea yesterday, and Trump says that he is cutting down the China tariffs after Xi Jinping signals tougher fentanyl enforcement and rare earth pause. So one of the things that President Trump said was that President Xi Jinping now has a new understanding of the fentanyl problem that we're having here, the farm trade, and pause on rare earth. So obviously the most important thing here is the fentanyl. I don't think Xi Jinping doesn't have a good understanding of what is going on with opium and the history of China with opium. They know exactly how deadly and dangerous it is, and they are, I would say, have declared war on the United States with the amount of fentanyl that has come into this country through Mexico. So it's a China working with Mexico to destroy American lives, and many, many lives have been destroyed as a result of it. So if we could get that to stop, what a notch on President Trump's legacy that would add if we could finally put an end to the fentanyl epidemic. And it is an epidemic in this country, and it's affected everybody. So it would be great to see if that could get done. So Trump going to cut the tariffs on China. Xi Jinping saying that, hey, it's normal for world leaders like us to have these disagreements and stuff. We had one of these bozo White House reporters asking President Trump, just as Xi and Trump sit down together for the first time, you got this White House reporter who blurts out, hey, President Trump, why are you starting to test our nuclear bombs now? And some kind of craziness like that. And Trump's like, thank you. Like trying to sabotage the whole meeting. Like you're bringing up Trump's nuclear bombs and, it was just totally normal for the White House or mainstream media lunatics. So that was, I thought, pretty stupid. So President Trump, again, anyway, meeting with world leaders. He's all over the place, and now he's coming back to the White House. He's going to participate in this Halloween trick-or-treating tonight, and I am heading down there right after I bring on Jared Hudson. So I'm going to hit you with this interview, and then I'm going to jump, and then I won't see you next week, and then I'll be back, hopefully with a few guests lined up for the following week. So Jared Hudson, somebody running for Senate in Alabama. As I said, he is a former Navy SEAL. We know we have plenty of these SEALs that have come into the political game now. I know Eli Crane is one of the best I think we have right now in Congress. I love what he's been doing. So it's good to see these guys that really have laid it on the line and understand what it's like to get us involved in these foreign conflicts. There's a lot to get into with him. I got the link to his campaign down there in the description below. So let's bring him on the show.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm at the White House with my dad, and you're watching The AlecLace Show.
You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.
All right, joining me now, Jared Hudson. Welcome to the AlecLace Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
Hey, it's an honor to get you here. I think it's important that we get good people in D.C., and so just, I guess, right off the hibbity here, Navy SEAL, family man, entrepreneur. What makes you decide to say, hey, why not? I'll throw my hat in the ring here and get involved in this political mess down in Washington.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a political mess. The first thing I always ask people is, who likes a senator or a congressman? Raise your hand, and nobody raises their hand, right? So I would say that was my initial apprehension of even getting involved. I was ashamed to talk to my granddaddy. I was ashamed to tell my parents or even my brothers, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. The Lord has opened the doors. I'm thinking about doing this, because we've always viewed those positions as bad positions. But in reality, the position's neutral in nature, right? It's like the people who want to say that the gun's the problem. Well, it's not the gun that's the problem. It's the person that holds the gun that's the problem. Because we give firearms to law enforcement officers, and they show up and they protect and they serve. We give firearms to military members. They go and do violence on our behalf at night so that we can sleep in peace. So it's not the position of senator that's the problem. It's the people that embody it. And that's ultimately what drove me to the point of saying, you know what, I want to run, because it's incumbent on me as a voter to make sure that I'm involved and educated enough to know that who I'm voting for. And then number two, if the opportunity presents itself for me to be a representative of the people, I can't sit around and complain about these career politicians who have screwed everything up if I'm not willing to step in and serve myself. So that's ultimately what pushed me over the edge to do that. You mentioned at the front end of it, my family. The most important thing about Jared Hudson is my faith. I'm a Christian, and in Alabama, everybody's a Christian during political season, so I always qualify what that means. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I believe he came to this world, lived a perfect life, died, rose again on the third day for my sins and yours, and it's through him we're set free. A lot of people don't believe that. That's fine. I ask them to ask God to reveal himself to you, and I promise you it'll be in the person of Jesus Christ. If you do know Jesus like I do, share him unashamedly with everybody around you, no matter what you're involved in, whether it's podcasts, radio, media, business, entrepreneurial stuff, law enforcement, military, politics. Whatever your sphere of influence is, you're called to share him if you believe like I do, because it's the only thing about me that's eternal. It's the only thing that I believe carries on after this life. Maximus says, what you do in this life echoes in eternity. I believe he almost got it right. How you transact with Christ in this life echoes in eternity. The second thing, and you mentioned this, I'm an Alabama family man. I've got a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful little girls, and I'm raising them right here in the great state of Alabama, where I was raised at. My wife, same thing, born and raised here in Alabama, and we're raising our family here. All of my nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters, mom and dad, her brother, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and their kids, like everybody that we love and know is pretty much right here in the state of Alabama. We have some family in a couple different states, but we are a regular, blue-collar family from the state of Alabama. And that is the second most important thing about me, is I'm trying to raise my girls with the same Christian conservative values that I was raised with, and hopefully giving them the opportunity to partake in the same great nation and the same great state that I had the opportunity to partake in, that my wife had the opportunity to partake in. So that's the second most important thing about me. And then obviously the third thing you mentioned, SEAL sniper, law enforcement officer, both state and federal here in Alabama. I primarily work child exploitation. I started a small business where we train military, law enforcement, and civilians. Heavy focus on military and law enforcement, obviously, because that's actually what, pays the bills. And then the nonprofit training local law enforcement agencies on how to target individuals who are buying and selling kids. And then set up the live operation with them. So that's who Jared Hudson is. And all 3 of those things are the things that drove me to run for U.S. Senate.
It's crazy. So many of you SEALs guys have all girls. It's amazing how that works out, huh? So many. I've probably interviewed 60, 70 frogmen, and it's so many of them have all girls. It's crazy how that works out. But yeah, listen.
That's the way it is.
The two things that are great, obviously, you're a family man and a man of God, a man of Christ, and those are the two things really missing in our society: is the fathers are not present in the home, and God is not present in our lives, and that 1-2 punch has really crushed our entire country, let alone the state by state. So let me just start. Obviously, the seat you're going for here, Tommy Tuberville, is one of the good ones that we do have in there in the Senate, I believe, anyway. And I do agree that it's not the position, but the people that are filling it. And the problem is, for far too long, most people are all saying, when you think of a politician, you think of a scumbag. That's what you think of. Like, if you think of a lawyer or a politician, you think they're liars and cheats. Now, all of a sudden, that Trump is in there on the outside, they're like, no, no, no. The outside guy is the problem. We got to trust our politicians. And they kind of got it all flipped up. And it's like, people are like, no, no, we got to trust our government politicians. And that is not the case. And that's why we call it the swamp. And we got to get these guys out of there that are, especially the ones that have been in there forever, that are making careers out of this stuff and become multimillionaires just in the process of becoming a politician. Get them out and get people in there that are going to work for us.
No, man, you're exactly right. And something that you said, and I'm always it's a Christian principle. We've got to look at the log in our eye before we try to remove the speck from somebody else's, right? And you mentioned a little bit of that with the politicians saying, hey, the outsider over here, Trump, is the problem. We're not the problem. This problem's been going on for 50 years. You know, I've been on the earth for 40 years, so I can at least say 40, but even my dad says, nah, it started, well before you, and this is dad, remember when he could start voting, right? 10, 15 years before I was born. So all of that being said, I guess it's been 10 years before I was born. All that being said, for us as the voter, we also have to look at ourselves. So the question I ask a lot of people is, do you want a politician who will take a bribe? And so I ask you that. Do you want a politician who will take a bribe?
Absolutely not.
No, we don't want that. Then don't bribe a politician with your vote, because that is a bribe. You might not have money to bribe them with, but the problem is we've got people that are in office, people that have climbed the political ladder, that are willing to be bribed with a vote so they can maintain the power. Then they get there and they're willing to be bribed with money so that they can enrich themselves. You see, the purpose of, in my case, a U.S. Senator, right? And the purpose of a U.S. Senator is to represent the people you're elected to represent. The chain of command is not senator, then the people. The chain of command is we the people, the preamble to the Constitution. Then the senator decides to step out of the citizenry, to step out of being a king or queen of the nation and serve on behalf of the people. And if you're doing it in that order, then it's going to be appropriate. But for far too long, we have wanted to bribe people with our vote. Well, if you don't do what I want, I'm not going to be happy. That's not it. We are supposed to elect people who are going to do what's right and what's just, no matter what popular opinion might be. And that's the whole point of a constitutional republic. What dictates what's right and just? Well, the Constitution of the United States of America, upholding our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or life, liberty, and property, as John Locke outlined. So with all of that being said, I think that we as voters, the politicians that are in place, sometimes are a face of who we are as voters. That is where the shift has to start happening. And we're seeing it happen now. That's why a guy like President Trump gets elected, because people are like, that guy over there, he's trying to do what's right and just. I might not agree with everything he does or says. That's what a lot of people will say. But for the most part, they're like, I believe he has our nation's best interest at heart. And that's what makes the difference. And, again, going back to it, that's why I'm running. Too many of these career politicians, they're going to tell you one thing and then they'll do another thing over here because they're easily bribed.
Jared, it's very hard, too, to get people in there that are going to do the right thing for that reason. It's almost like, and I remember saying this to Eli Crane when he first got in there to Congress, saying, like, it's almost in the sense of like that Pablo Escobar, silver or lead, take the money or take the bullet. It's like either you come on board or you take the bribe or you're out. We're going to ruin your career, ruin your family. And it seems like a lot of people that get in there are put in that position. So it's like they'd rather do the easy way. My family's taken care of. I got stocks now. I'm a miracle stock picker. And they become, very wealthy, and they just vote the way that they're supposed to do it. And on the other flip side of that, you see the way that they're bribing the voters, because you see what's going on right now with the SNAP program and the food stamp program, where they're holding these people hostage. So it's basically paying for votes. They're paying these people. They're incentivizing them to fail, paying for their votes. Like, keep us in office, we'll keep the flow of cash going.
That's man, you're hitting the nail on the head. I couldn't have said it better myself. And Eli, by the way, great dude. I was at Team 3 with Eli. He's the one who kind of helped me as I started looking at this when the doors opened for me to be able to do this. But and one of the things he said is a lot of times it seems good to toe a line, right? He said, but if that line is not moral or ethical or is not a right or wrong line or a just or unjust line, maybe we say, hey, don't worry about this line anymore so that we can win something for the people of the United States of America, for him, the people in his district in Arizona, for me, the people of the state of Alabama, ultimately upholding this great nation. But on the other side of it, if it's something that's moral or ethical or this is just and right, we don't cross that line no matter what. That's one thing I appreciate about, you mentioned Coach Tuberville at the front end of this. He's running for governor, and so I'm running for his open seat. He would draw a line and toe the line. Like you knew where Coach stood on the vast majority of issues. And nobody's ever going to agree with somebody 100%. But Coach, for the most part, when you look at him, it's like, all right, hey, well, we might disagree with him over here, but you know where he stood. And that's an important thing for an elected representative of the people to be able to do, is to make sure that the people that they represent know where they stand. So even if you disagree with me, at least you know, hey, I know where Jared Hudson stands on this, so I know which way he's going to go. I don't know why he's going to go that way. I don't agree with it, but I know he's giving me an honest shake. And that's all that we can do, and that's what we're supposed to do. And for far too long, these politicians haven't done that. And this is what they do. They use you. You just mentioned it, using the SNAP benefits that are now going to go away, I guess, after Friday of this week because the government shut down. They're using that. They're using military servicemen and women who are not getting paid right now. I think Trump found about $8 billion to give them all a paycheck. Praise God for a great administration like his. But people are not getting paid. People are not getting the benefits that their tax dollars have paid for. Some of them are incentivized to not work and go out and earn their living. But we've got a bunch of people who are going to be suffering, and the political elite are using them as cannon fodder for their own ideology, and they're grandstanding on that. And it cost them nothing, so it means nothing to them. And so anyway, you hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah, there's no question. That's what the shutdown is all about. They're trying to make Trump look bad. Oh, look, people are starving. Trump's starving people. That's the whole, that's the optics they're going for. I don't think the American people are buying it because we can clearly see the votes. They're trying to shove in some healthcare thing that has nothing to do with keeping the government open. So go ahead.
You're hitting the nail. I mean, you're exactly right. The healthcare stuff, and then all of the USAID stuff that they did away with. Transgender studies in Uganda or whatever it is. Right? No. They're trying to get all $1.5 trillion that we said, wait a second, this is waste, fraud, and abuse. This is inefficient use of taxpayer dollars. They're trying to get all $1.5 trillion, or plus or minus, of that back in, and it's like, no. We can't do this. There's a reason we passed this bill. There's a reason we did these things to get rid of this inefficient use of government dollars. And now they're saying, hey, we want all that back or we're going to shut the government down. And in shutting the government down, not paying our military servicemen and women, not covering SNAP benefits for some of the people who do need it. There are some people who need that to put food on the table. There's a lot who don't, right? But all of that being said, they're using the regular everyday citizen as cannon fodder for their own political grandstanding. And it's sickening.
And they're trying to make you sound like they're one of you. Like you got Gavin Newsom. Oh, I grew up just living on bread and crackers. Like guy came from an affluent family, right? Ties to billionaires. Same thing you're seeing with Jasmine Crockett. Like she's like, oh, I'm from the hood. She's from a well-to-do neighborhood, well-to-do schools. AOC, same thing. She ain't from the neighborhood. She's from a well-to-do neighborhood. Bernie Sanders, I'm going to fight the oligarchy. I got 3 mansions. It's all nonsense. That's what I'm saying. These people are fake, and we're so tired of seeing it. They try to act like they're like you, but they're not. But anyway, on these hardline issues, like it's where people stand, like you were saying. When it comes to deporting illegals, we have to figure out, it's as simple as, should it be legal to come across the border unchecked? Should we allow the border to stay open, or should we close it and there should be a legal process? It's that simple. Should coming into this country illegally be a crime? I mean, that's all that this is. If you believe it is, you got to get these people out. If not, then open the border, let our country sink like a stone.
Yep. No, man, you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, it's called illegal immigration for a reason. The first word of it, illegal, right? So if you do something illegal as a law enforcement officer, I have probable cause to make an arrest and then probably a successful prosecution. Why are we not doing that with other people that are doing things illegal? It doesn't mean that they don't have the same God-given rights that we have as people. It's just that our country has legally outlined those God-given rights, and because they're not legal citizens of our country, they don't get the same protections under our country that we do. You know why? Because they're here illegally. If they want those same protections, there's a legal process to becoming a citizen or a member of our society, so that they can receive those same legal protections that are not outlined by the government. They're outlined by God. It's just our government has codified it in a constitution. That's why we're a constitutional republic, so that we as a government, the United States government, the state governments that are, across our nation, all 50 states, are supposed to protect those rights of the citizen that is not given by the government, given by God. So that's where people get mixed up. They'll say, oh, well, they have the same God-given rights we do. They do. They just don't have the same right to protection that we have as American citizens. They can obtain it, but there's a legal way to obtain that.
And that's what it drives you crazy. It makes me want to bang my head against the wall, because we've been having the same conversation for like 4 years, especially heightened with Joe Biden leaving the border wide open, saying he couldn't do it because the Republicans weren't letting him. Then we see Trump come in and just zip, borders closed. He didn't need anything but a different president. He proved that, and now we see what's going on. Now they're fighting and screaming about ICE because that's what they've been turned on to by the media and the Democrats. So it's nuts to see. Next problem with this is letting men into the women's locker room. Same thing. It's either a hardline issue. Either you agree men should be in the locker room changing naked in front of girls, or you don't. I think that's an easy layup, and I think they say 80-20. I think it's a 99-1 when it comes to that issue. Yet it seems like the Democrats want to keep dying on the vine with it.
Well, bro, I mean, I don't even get it. To me, I don't even see how we're talking about it. I mean, I've got 3 daughters, 3 girls. You mentioned we were talking about Riley earlier. Riley Gaines, or I guess Riley Barker, and her husband Louis, they become good friends over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years. And, of course, they just had their baby girl. And she has been standing at the forefront of this for a long time. And I've appreciated what she's done. I think getting to know her and her husband, I appreciate even more what they're doing and what they're putting their family through with the stance that she's taking, because she had to swim against a dude and ultimately wound up getting all that got reversed, and she was able to get the award. But she lost to a guy who was swimming and having to change in the locker room with him. This to me is absolute insanity. We say we stand on women's rights, is what I'll say about the Democrat Party. Hey, we're all for women's rights to do everything, but you mean you're going to put my daughters at risk, or put any woman at risk, for having to go into the bathroom with a man, or having to change in a locker room with a man? Brother, it shouldn't even be something we're discussing, because like you said, this is that hard line that we toe. This is the hill that we die on. The reason this is the hill that Jared Hudson dies on is because I have 3 daughters that I'm called to protect at all cost, even give my own life for those girls. And if it means dying on a hill to make sure that they are not run roughshod over by some nut job who wants to go into the bathroom with a girl, then that's what I do.
And I have 1 daughter. I have 3 boys, and we have our girl. She's the youngest one. And when I was telling you, like, I train for the Navy SEAL swim. When I'm doing it, I'm training at the YMCA, and my daughter will come with me so she can count my laps in the pool. But she'll go into that. Now, I know in order to get into the pool side, she has to walk through the women's locker room to get to it. And I'm always like, you're so worried about what's going to happen now. And it should never even cross your mind that, hey, there might be a dude in there changing. Like, that's not the world we should even have to consider living in.
You're exactly right. And here's the thing. The wise man plants trees knowing he'll never sit in the shade. We're planting trees now so that our kids one day can partake in the fruit that tree produces. They can sit in the shade, they can eat of its fruit. And the question is it going to be rotted fruit that continues down this line to where who knows what's going to happen when my daughters are in their 30s if we don't stop this stupidity now? Right now, it's a guy changing in the girls' locker room, and it's a bathroom, which is crazy enough. What's it going to be 30 years down the road? Because I guarantee you 30 years ago, when my dad was raising us, this wasn't something that even crossed his mind. And that's what we have to make sure that we redirect course on.
Yeah, definitely. They would have laughed at it. Liz, I could keep you here for an hour. I know my time's getting tight. One other thing that I love that you have on your website there, again, I got the link, Jared Hudson for U.S. Senate down in the description below. One of the things I love that you have on there is publish the federal government's entire checkbook online. And I think this should be done always and everywhere so that everyone knows where the money is going. And we know what, because we're trillions of dollars in debt. I'm here in the communist state of Jersey. I pray we get Chitterelli in there to turn it around and go red. But, we just got legalized sports gambling here. We took in billions of dollars more income. Where did the money go? Publish it online so we could also trail the money. But I love the fact that you have it on there. Let's publish this account so the people can audit where the money's going.
Because it's your money. That's the thing. That's the most important thing. It ain't the government's money. And I'm not one of these guys who say, what Jesus say, hey, give to Caesar what's Caesar's and give to God what's God's. Well, the concept of that is everything's God's anyway, right? That's what Jesus was saying. God is more than Caesar. But he says, go ahead and pay your taxes. And everybody's like, oh, dang, man, we wish Jesus hadn't said pay your taxes, because that's what the Israeli people were upset about during that time with the Romans. I'm not one of these guys who's saying we don't need to pay taxes. What I am saying is, if we are going to pay taxes, we need to know where those tax dollars are going. Because if we don't know where they're going, that's problem. That's taxation without representation. I don't know where my tax dollars are going. I'm not being fully represented because the bureaucracy, not the elected official, the bureaucracy is dictating where that money goes. And if you open the checkbook, you can see, whoa, hang on a second. Kind of like what the Trump administration has done, removing that $1.5 trillion of USA and all the stupidity that they were covering with that. That is what we've got to get to. That is the transparency we need in government. And that is, what are they doing with your money that they're taking from you? Because they're taking a lot of money from you, by the way, as well.
That's the issue. And we went to war over a 3% tax on tea. And now all of a sudden it's like they're taxing us on every single thing, and it's all going up and nothing is getting improved. And it just seems like it's a bunch of corruption, and we just want to get it out of there. That's why. And again, the last thing, getting good people in there is so difficult and so challenging, because are you willing to go through what's coming your way? I mean, what you're headed into, and I'm sure you're seeing it already just by throwing your hat in the ring. And it's vicious. It is vicious. And for so many people, like, why would I do that when I could go and do this and not have to get involved? And it's like, but if people don't do it, we're doomed.
Dude, you're 100% right. So there's a couple things I'll give you here. The scriptural principle, which comes from Proverbs, it says the righteous are as bold as a lion, but the wicked flee when no one pursues. So that's one of the first things you have to stand on. There's a lot of people that have stuff in their life that they don't want to be brought out, and that just is why they don't want to get involved. But if you're not one of those people and you want to get involved, if you're not, hey, I don't want all this stuff drummed up, that happened earlier in my life. If you don't have that going on, you're like, hey, I want to get involved. Get involved. Be bold as a lion, because you have nothing to be afraid of. And that's kind of the way it is with me and my wife. I mean, we're just regular everyday folks. We've been married to the same woman my whole life. No infidelity issues, raised our kids. I have had zero issues with anything growing up since I was a kid. I'm just a regular Christian guy who became a Navy SEAL, went to war, killed people, lost buddies, came back home. I mean, it's just a regular dude. If you're a regular man or woman out there that is not afraid to get in the fray, don't be afraid of what they can throw your way, because it's only going to be lies. That's the first thing. The second thing, the only way we get the appropriate people in there is you have to make sure that you're educated as a voter to elect the person that's not going to do always what you like, but it's going to do what's right and just. And what I say to people is, my wife and my girls hate this because I love them more than anything in the world. And I'm willing to die for them, but I'm still willing to die for this country. Stop electing politicians that are not willing to give up their freaking golf game on the weekend, because when they're elected to represent you, I am willing to give my last breath so you can take your next. And that's hard to say because I've got a beautiful family. Stop electing people that are not willing to give their life, to give everything on behalf of you, the people they're elected to represent. Because when you do that, when you get somebody who is not willing to give everything, they won't give everything, and they'll start taking everything from you. And so it's incumbent on us, even if we're not involved in running for office, to become educated enough to pick the person who, even if I don't like everything about them, I know that they're going to do what's right and just. I know they're going to stand for my right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, or life, liberty, and property, as Locke outlined. So I can carry on the American dream for us in Alabama, the Alabamian dream for you in New Jersey, right? The New Jersey dream. Whatever your dream is, we've got to make sure that you have the freedom to do it that's outlined in our Bill of Rights. And that's what your elected representative is supposed to do, even to the point of death.
Yeah, well said. And I think that is one of the big blessings that we have by guys like you, to combat veterans that are getting in there, is you know what it's like. You've laid it on the line. You know the cost of this stuff. And I think if politicians that vote us into these wars had to go and serve in them, we'd never be in another war ever again. So, I mean, you guys know the cost.
No, you're
you
right.
do everything to keep the people safe. And it's funny how you say, too, you're like married to the same woman. And it's like, we have to say that because it's like, somehow it's not the norm anymore. Like, I have 4 kids. I'm married 20 years. I work for the railroad. It's my main job, right? 25 years. On the side, I've driven a lot of Uber. And I'd be driving Uber and I would tell people, yeah, I got 4 kids. And I'd be like, first question is like, with the same woman? And it's like, well, yeah,
I know, man, it's crazy.
This is normal, buddy. This is the way it is. Like, what's going on here? Like, that's the stuff that drives you. Yeah, this is a normal thing to do.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's just a normal family man, normal family woman for those women that like getting involved in this. And it's unusual in the political side, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and in the SEAL teams too, by the way. So, all right, Jared Hudson,
Yeah.
I got the link. I got the link down there in the description below. Tell the people, if you want anything lasting about your campaign, where to go find you, how they can support.
Yeah, just go to hudsonforalabama.com. Like, share, follow us on all the social medias. And, if you financially want to support, you can financially donate. If you want to buy swag and all that, that's fine too. You can also go to covenantrescue.org. That's our human trafficking nonprofit. You see the Crush Evil stuff and the Be a Threat stuff here behind me. You go to covenantrescue.org and check out what we're doing there as well if you're interested in the human trafficking side.
Yeah, so much stuff. I didn't even get into the good you've done there, tracking down these child predators. So much good. Jared Hudson, love what you're doing. I'd love to have you back on the podcast down the line. Good luck with the campaign. Thanks for joining me today on the AlecLace Show.
Thanks for having me, brother.
All right, honored to have Jared Hudson join me on the podcast today, running for U.S. Senate in Alabama. Check out the link down below. Share it on your social networks. Get involved. We need to get good people in Washington. I believe Jared is one of them. He is a Trump guy. He's a SEAL team guy. He's an American guy, a Christian guy, a family guy. So he is exactly what we want to see. Hopefully we can get him in there. We'll see what happens. I don't know who else is going to emerge in this race for that seat. Tommy Tuberville obviously running for governor. So that changes the game. He's one of the best senators we have down there. He's very, very good, Coach Tuberville. Love always having him on the podcast. Got to probably try to get him on again, talk about his campaign for governor. So anyway, as I said, I'm running down to D.C. right now. I'll be down there for that D.C. The White House Halloween event. Follow me on X at AlecLace. I'll probably go live or post some videos, some pictures over there on X. So check me out over there. And I will be back the next week. Because as I said, this coming week here, I will be on vacation, so there'll be no show Tuesday, Thursday, but I will be back the following week. Make sure you follow me on X at AlecLace, and I will be back. God bless you parents and you listeners out there. God bless our police, our first responders. God bless our military and our veterans. God bless America, and I will catch you guys. I'll see you when I see you. Make sure you follow me on X. Take care. Have a good weekend.